Hi, my name is Thomas Easley. I'm the director of the Eclectic School of Herbal Medicine, and today we're going to show you how to do a glycerin extract using the sealed simmer method as taught to me by Stephen Horn, a mentor of mine. Glycerin is not a great solvent for many herbs. Unlike alcohol or even water, it has a hard time pulling some constituents out. And so just throwing herbs in a jar with the glycerin is not the best way to make it, and you can do it a lot faster. So that's what we're going to talk about, is using heat to make a faster extract. Herbs that are rich in volatile oils do well as glycerites. The glycerin seems to bind to the volatile oils and stabilize them. So glycerites are really wonderful for people that can't take alcohol tinctures, children, elderly. They're also really good gentle remedies that work really well for respiratory formulas, because a lot of our respiratory herbs are rich in volatile oils. So if you're using herbs that are not rich in volatile oils, where glycerin might not be a good solvent, you can mix the water part of your glycerin as a decoction. You can make it as a decoction first. So glycerites are normally made in a 1:8 weight to volume ratio. That means 1 part of the herb to 8 parts of the menstruum. In this case, our menstruum is not going to be 100% glycerin. It's going to be 60% glycerin and 40% water. And as I said, you can use that water part as a decoction to make things stronger. So if I'm doing glycerite with licorice root as a part, I'll decoct the licorice root first and use that water as our 40% content, and then I'll do 60% glycerin. Today we're going to be making up a respiratory formula that all of the ingredients are rich in volatile herbs, so we aren't going to start with a decoction. We're just going to make a 60-40 glycerin ratio, and that'll be our menstruum, and then we'll do 8 parts of that to 1 part of our herbs. So let's go ahead and get it mixed. We're going to do 400 milliliters of vegetable glycerin. So vegetable glycerin can be purchased from most health food stores and most herb suppliers. You can get this from, Mountain Rose Herbs, Bulk Apothecary. Those are my 2 favorite sources for it. So we have 400 milliliters of vegetable glycerin, and to that we're going to add 260 milliliters of water to give us 60% glycerin, 40% water. And that's going to be our menstruum. So we're going to use 8 parts of that to 1 part of our herb, which means if our menstruum volume is 660 milliliters, we're going to use 82.5 grams of herbs. Using metric can make it a little easier to figure out weight-volume ratios here. So our formula is going to be juniper berries, which are a wonderful antimicrobial expectorant rich in volatile oils. Great for the digestive tract, great for the urinary tract, but underutilized for respiratory tract infections. So we're going to use 40 grams of juniper berries, and I already have these weighed out. I'm just going to throw these into our jar. Okay. Then we're going to do 20 grams of eucalyptus leaf. And eucalyptus is normally used as like a volatile oil diffused into the air, but it's actually a wonderful expectorant, a little antimicrobial. These volatile oils are at least partially excreted via the lungs, so when you take this you'll get that warming, expectorating sensation. So we're just going to take our leaves here, shove them into our jar. So we had 40 of juniper, 20 of our eucalyptus, and go ahead and kind of pack them down into the jar. The more surface area you expose of your herbs to your menstruum, the stronger your extract. So if you want to powder these beforehand, you can. It makes with glycerin, makes it a little bit difficult to strain everything out unless you have a heavy duty press. So I normally just use cut and sifted herbs, or in the case of eucalyptus, whole leaf herbs for ease of extraction. Then we're going to do 11 grams of thyme, which is another really wonderful expectorant, slightly anti-allergenic. And we're going to do 11 grams of anise. I'd use licorice here, but I'm out of licorice. Anise is not the same as licorice, doesn't have the same antiviral properties, but has a very similar taste. And anise is a mucolytic, so it thins out mucus and makes it easier to expel. So I've got these in my jar. Now all I'm going to do is add in my menstruum, which is a total of 660 milliliters. Remember, 60% vegetable glycerin, 40% water. And that's going to cover my herbs nicely. Now we're doing a sealed simmer method instead of a normal maceration, which means we're just going to put the lid on really tight, and we're going to put this into a pot. Okay. And then we're going to fill that with water and put it on the stove top, bring it to a simmer, turn it down so it's just below a simmer, and we're going to leave that going for about 6 hours. And the glycerin and water will heat up and extract the volatile oils in our respiratory formula that we're making. And then after 6 hours, we let it cool down and we strain it out, bottle and label it. I have another formula already prepared of OSHA, elecampane, pine, thyme, and licorice. So we're going to go ahead and strain that. You'll need a big container for straining, some nice cloth. I like cheesecloth. This is a heavy muslin cloth. And you can do it a couple of different methods. If you don't have an aid to getting the plant material out, you can just dump everything in there. Okay. Then you can, by hand, squeeze out all of the good stuff. Okay. Now, the problem with hand squeezing is that even if you have less plant material, that's about all that I can get squeezed out by hand, and there's still a lot of good stuff left in the plant. So we can use a simple potato ricer, which is, these cast iron ones are probably around $30. And you simply put your plant material in your potato ricer, fill it a little less than half the way full, and then you can squeeze out more of your good stuff. So that's the basic process behind making a sealed simmer glycerite. You're going to pack your herbs, you're going to add your menstruum, you're going to put it in a boiling water bath for 6 hours, let it cool down, strain it out, and then bottle it. Be sure to label all of your ingredients and what the formula is for. We have a couple of sample formulas that we've made. Today was juniper, eucalyptus, thyme, and anise. And then we're straining out the previous formula of OSHA, elecampane, pine, thyme, and licorice. I hope that you have enjoyed our quick medicine making video today. We here at the Eclectic School of Herbal Medicine hope you'll join us in supporting the Sioux Nation as they strive to protect their sacred burial land and water supply. Please send all of your salves, teas, and herbal glycerites, like we learned to make today, to Linda Black Elk at the following address. Thanks.